Let's get started. This is the agenda for today. Now, what I've done is that, I have made the agenda so that it is flexible. So depending on what you're trying to do, you can follow as many bullets as you want. So for example, let's say your minimum goal of this training is to, you're just curious. You just want to know what AI is, and you just want to gain a basic understanding of AI and machine learning, then you should know the definition on the terms and some simple steps. That's step number 1 and 2 you should do. But let us say you are in management and you're trying to deploy AI in this organization, or if you have staff working on AI and machine learning, or if you're working with a vendor that is trying to help you deploy AI in your organization, then I do believe you need to know the different models of supervised and unsupervised machine learning. Now, if you're in management, one thing I would definitely like to say here is that when you're trying to do a fancy algorithm, right? Just make sure that that somehow impacts your customer in terms of experience or quality, because unless the customer is positively affected, there is no feedback for you to invest more time and money. It's one thing to have a fancy algorithm you can impress management, but that algorithm, if it helps the customer, then trust me, you'll get much more returns, and then people will be more interested in spending their time and effort. So I definitely make that recommendation. Now, on the third side, third category, if let's say you are a student of data science, and you want to get into this seriously, or if you've been laid off and you're trying to find jobs, and or trying to switch careers, or you're trying to deploy some machine learning model, I highly recommend you attend this last portion, which is this deep learning, because most serious algorithms will use deep learning. And the example that I gave in the beginning was one of that. So that's how I've laid out the agenda. Feel free to decide what you want to get out of this, and then you can take it from there. Okay. Now, of course, you're free to attend all five, but set some minimum goal as to what you want to get out of it. Okay. Either you're just trying to be aware about it, or you are in management, or you're a student trying to deploy. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the first step, which is definitions. Okay, so what is artificial intelligence? Um, AI is an ability of a program or a machine to think and learn. It's an ability to think and learn. Now, typically, if you do Google and say artificial intelligence, you most likely will see a robot or something. But robotics is just one application. It's just a program to do some task. So just think of it as a simple program to do some, or an application to do a task. Okay. So then, what is machine learning? If AI is the ability of a program to think and learn, what is machine learning? So if you look at this Venn diagram at the bottom, right? Think of AI as the big outer circle, or the I guess box of this Venn diagram, and this has started since 50s actually. Now, machine learning is a subset of AI, and basically it is just a set of algorithms to build a mathematical model to make predictions. And it sounds a little wordy, but it's just a set of algorithms, one. And two, we build a mathematical model to make predictions. Now, you don't need to write I mean, you didn't see me write equations on the dog and the cat, right? So it'll do it for you. But it's inside the hood, it's building a mathematical relationship, okay, to make some predictions. So what is deep learning? The deep learning is what the demonstration I gave you earlier. Deep learning is a further subset of machine learning, and it is basically used to make predictions using a technology called artificial neural networks. So these are special class of machine learning algorithms that are based on artificial neural network. And then I will explain how that works. Okay. So notice that this started in the 1950s, but they went through a period called nuclear, just like nuclear winter. I think they had a period called AI winter, where there was a certain dip in the interest, and I think the reasons were, at that time the computing processors were not powerful enough to do some of these algorithms. What we have in our favor right now, we have, even our smartphones are probably much more powerful than a truckload of a computer in the 50s, right? Two, we now have a lot of data, And three, we also have a lot of memory that is available in RAMs and store, and right. So these are the things that have come in the favor of artificial intelligence, and that's why it has really taken off. Now, I grew up watching, movies like Terminator, where this robot comes from the future and does all these fancy things. There is actually a term for that kind of an artificial intelligence. It's called AGI, or artificial general intelligence. So what is AGI? Most applications that we'll talk about today will do a specific task, or it'll do a few number of tasks. AGI is about having this agent which can do multiple things, or it's a multiplayer agent, if you will. It can do multiple things, almost like a human being. It can talk, it can think, it can learn, it can walk, breathe, and whatever it needs to do, right? So this concept is very theoretical, if I may say. There is speculation whether AGI will even occur, because one thing they say is that it would need to have consciousness or self-awareness. So there's speculation on whether AGI will ever occur. Some people feel that there might be a few breakthroughs needed before we can achieve that stage. Some people feel that it might take maybe 20, 30, 40 years. If I were to guess, I think it might happen. It might take a couple of decades, but it might happen. And the reason I say that is there's already some research going on in how they can make this AI self-aware, right? Two, I don't know if you're reading up on news on AI. Just last week, I think they released a new program called Chat GPT, and you can Google up this program or this application of deep learning can actually write poems. It can write software code. So when I started this journey, I started with writing a Python code for a tic-tac-toe game, X and Zero game, right? Programs such as these can actually write software. Can you imagine? It can write poems. It can summarize an article into a few words that a fifth grader can understand. So that's where we have reached right now. So I believe if the current trend continues and if you follow Moore's law, it is the logical conclusion is that AGI is going to occur. We don't know where it is when. Now there's this fear that this AGI is going to take over the world. I do not believe that's going to happen, because most applications of AI and machine learning, they always have these checks and balances, whether it'll take over control. What we should worry about, though, is that humans could misuse AGI. So, they're talking about these remote drones that can just target a geographical community, and then they're independent, right? So, I think humans are more dangerous than any piece of tools that we can use. The tools just make us more dangerous, I think.